Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. In this very special occasion, our group, consisting of Mbak Nurul and Gabby Allen, will explain and present about audio-lingual method. And this presentation will be divided into 4 sections. First one is explaining about the basic definition of ALM itself, and then showing you the basic information and then lesson plan according to the video teaching and learning analysis, and then showing you the whole video presentation, and the last is giving our suggestion based on the video analysis. And now I will try to explain about audio-lingual method. And from this picture, we know that ALM focus on the drilling and then dialogues technique, and it absolutely can increase our communicative competence or oral skill. It means our speaking and listening ability can be produced well, and then for example, like while we learn new language such as English in classroom. And how did this method come or being used? It's a long history where audio-lingual method firstly used before or during World War II. Unexpectedly, this method was known as army method or new case strategies. And how did this army method that often relating to the teaching and learning process in the classroom can be used for the army? United States government found ALM as a great language training program for their army during World War II. So they asked for several American universities to teach this method for those army, and the training program was called S.Pd or Army Specialized Training Program that conducted in 1942. And what is the benefit? The benefit is this program can increase the communicative competence for the army to prepare them in the World War II. And I will explain about audio-lingual method that relate to the behaviorist theory. From the historical background of ALM method that was used by military program, this method has strong relationship with behaviorist theory. Why? Because by applying this method, the army from the history can learn new behavior, especially focusing on the communicative language. And from this relationship, the audio-lingual method, which is called as army method or new key, was based on this theory. And the army were trained on the learning behavior by using stimulus. Stimulus, it means that reinforcement and then punishment. The army were given punishment if they did the wrong training or program, and give reward, for example, like additional score or special gift if they did the right process. And those stimulus concern in changing behavior, and the army learned new program for the behaviorist theory. And now we will take a look on the behaviorist theory itself. As we know that behaviorist theory often used in the teaching and learning process, where the teacher focus and concern on the conversation, dialogues, and drilling, where the students repeating the previous conversation and then over and over again until the students learn new behavior and get something new. And so for example, like new vocabulary, new grammar form, and then they can increase their speaking and listening abilities. And this behaviorist theory was developed by many experts. In this behaviorist theory, I will explain 2 the most important expertise that have been found in this behaviorist theory. The first one is that M.Pd. And M.Pd found classical conditioning using dog experiment. demonstrated classical conditioning by using a natural stimulus. You can see from the picture, natural stimulus, it means that you use the bell and which will not produce a response like dog satisfaction. And then the unconditioned stimulus like the food, which will produce unconditioned response such as dog satisfaction. If Pavlov only rang the bell without unconditioned stimulus like food, the dog will produce satisfaction. And if you present both of them, that was natural stimulus, that was bell, and then unconditional stimulus, food, together, the dog will learn new behavior. About if Pavlov rang the bell, it means that he would give the dog food. And we can adapt this classical conditioning in the classroom or teaching and learning activity. For example, like this picture, natural stimulus, it means teacher. If teacher doesn't apply drilling or conversation, students don't learn anything, right? And then we give unconditional stimulus, that is dialogues, conversation, to do drilling process. And the unconditional response, students will learn new behavior and adapt new habit. That is, they should repeat this teacher previous conversation and they do drilling over and over again. Pavlov Behaviorist Theory developed again by another expertise, that was Skinner. Skinner believed that human cannot only take the stimulus, whatever it is, but human have emotion and internal or external factor, for example, like will, situation, and based on their emotion. He found operant conditioning. From this presentation, we know that Skinner found operant conditioning using reinforcement and punishment to change behavior, because he believed from reinforcement and punishment can influence human behavior because humans have emotion. From Skinner, it was found that stimulus called reinforcement and punishment to build or create new behavior. We can take a look from this slide. There are two different kind of reinforcement and punishment itself. Positive reinforcement. It's something to increase the likelihood of behavior. But in punishment, it's something that adds to decrease the likelihood of behavior. The example of the positive reinforcement, we can see the easy example in the classroom, like you as a teacher give a reward for the students that have high score or do the best in the assignment or have a good behavior in the classroom. And then the positive punishment, for example, you give scolding students to get students stop texting in class or make a noise in class. And then for the negative reinforcement, it means that something you remove to increase the likelihood of behavior. And the punishment, negative punishment, it means that you remove to decrease the likelihood of a behavior. And for the example of the reinforcement, negative reinforcement is if you do not complete your homework, it means you will give your teacher money and you will avoid to give your teacher money and you will do the best for the homework and get the best score. And then the negative punishment, for example, when a child misbehaves and the parents can take away a favorite toys. From here, the children can learn new behavior. If they do misbehave or naughty behavior, the teacher can remove their toys. And my next explanation is still about behaviorist theory and audiolingual method that will be delivered by Mbak Nurul, my partner.
Hello everyone! Thank you very much for this special occasion to continue the explanation about audiolingual method. The first slide is about the goal of audiolingual method. The ultimate goal of ALM is gaining proficiency in all four language skills like listening, speaking, reading, and writing. The objective or the general objective is achieved through training the learners in sound discrimination, increasing auditory memory, emphasizing native-like pronunciation, and developing accuracy and fluency in a limited portion of language. So in other words, the goal of audiolingual method is to use a target language communicatively and automatically. And activities and audiolingual method. There are two major types of activities in ALM. The first is mimicry. It includes a memorization of dialogues through repetition and pattern drills of grammatical structures. It is used to help students learn contextualized structures, vocabulary items, and pronunciation. And the second is to enhance automaticity, fluency, and accuracy in the grammatical. So the use of drills and pattern practice is like a distinctive of audiolingual method. And there are some kinds of drills that are often used in audiolingual method, like the repetition. In audiolingual method, or in repetition, the students repeat an utterance aloud as soon as they have heard it. They do this without looking at a printed text. The utterance must be brief enough to be retained by the ear. Sound is as important as form and order. Let's see the examples. The teacher said, "I used to know him." And the students repeat the sentence, "I used to know him." And the other example, the teacher said, "I used to know him years ago." And the students repeat, "I used to know him years ago." And then the inflection. Inflection is like perubahan suara. One word in an utterance appears in another form when repeated. Examples, the teacher said, "I bought the ticket." And the student said, "I bought the tickets." There are differences between ticket and tickets. The first sentence is ticket, only one ticket, and the second sentence more than one ticket. And then he bought the candy, and the students changed the subject he to she. She bought the candy. And I called the young man. The students repeat the sentence, "I called the young man." So the word man and man is different. And then next is substitution. One word in an utterance is replaced by another. Examples, he bought this house cheap. He bought it cheap. So the word it substitute this house. And the other example is Helen left early. The students repeat the sentence with she left early. So the word she substitute Helen. And the other example, they gave their boss a watch. And the students substitute their boss with him. They gave him a watch. And then completion. The student hears an utterance that is complete except for one word, then repeats the utterance in completed form. Let's see the examples. The teacher say, I will go my way and you go blah 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 blah. And the students repeat and complete the sentence. I will go my way and you go yours. And then the teacher say, we all have blah 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 own troubles. The students repeat and complete the sentence. We all have our own troubles. And next is transformation. A sentence is transformed by being made negative or interrogative, or truths change in tenses, mood, voice, aspect, or modality. The examples is, the teacher said, he knows my address, and then the students changed the sentence into negative and interrogative. He doesn't know my address. Does he know my address? He used to know my address. If he had known my address. So there are 5 activities in drills in audiolingual method. The first is repetition, substitution, inflection, completion, and transformation. So the next slide is, the question is that the question that always comes to our mind when we talk about the method, like what is the role of teachers? So the teachers is like an orchestral leader. They directing and controlling the language behavior of his or her students. He also is responsible for providing his or her students with a good model for imitation, because we know in audiolingual method the teacher is like the learning center. And next is, what is the role of students? Students are imitators of the teacher's model or the types she supplies of model speakers. They follow the teacher's direction and respond as accurately and as rapidly as possible. In audiolingual method, the role of students is as imitators, like parrots, because parrots is usually imitates what people say. And then the materials that can be used in audiolingual method class, like textbooks, tapes, visuals, it can be films or pictures, realia, and if possible, language labs make perfect materials for audiolingual method. And then the advantages of audiolingual method. In terms of the advantages of audiolingual method, there are many benefits brought about by audiolingualism in comparison with the grammar translation method and direct method. The first is, the audiolingual method is said to be the best approach for beginning level foreign classes. And the second is, it aims at developing listening and speaking skills, which constitutes a step away from the GDM. And the third, it paved the way for the development of communicative language teaching, which has been seen as a response of the audiolingual method. And the fourth is, it popularized the use of visual aids, the positive impact of which on memorable and effective learning has been proven in vocabulary. And there are also disadvantages of the audiolingual method. The first is, this is a teacher-centered method. The ALM makes considerable demands upon the teacher. And the second, the basic steps of imitation, repetition, and reinforcement turn students into parrots who can produce many good utterances but never create anything new. And the third, students lacked an active role in the classroom. And the fourth is, very little attention is paid to communication and content. Before I'm going to show you the video of the teaching and learning process of grammar using the audiolingual method, I'd like to show you the lesson plan of the 10th grade students of one of SMA in Pare. So this is the curriculum used in this video was KTSP 2006. So here is the lesson plan. The first activity or the opening activity is like usual warm up. It aims to make students feel comfortable, and the procedures is like giving introduction or greeting and summarizes the previous class or briefly introduce today's lesson. And here is the main activity in audiolingual method. There is a grammar drill. So the teacher, in this video, the teacher used substitution and transformation of drills. And before I'm going to show you the video of audiolingual method in the classroom, me and Gabby as a presenter would like to give a suggestion related to audiolingual method that we as a teacher who deal with a different characteristic of students, different way of thinking, different idea, we have to be more creative. We have to be more selective in choosing the proper methods that we'll use in our class. Because like in audiolingual method, we know that the students is only imitates what the teacher say without knowing the meaning of the sentence they say. Because in audiolingual method, there is no translation. It has to use the target language. So what can we do as a teacher in audiolingual method? We can use the teaching aids or the teaching media like flashcards for make the understandable teaching and learning process. Because like in this video, the teacher used flashcard to give directions that students should change the sentence into negative and interrogative. The flashcard is written plus or question marks and so on. So thank you very much for your nice attention, and we hopefully you and all my friends, and hopefully our explanation bring you a bright understanding about audiolingual method, and happy watching this video. Thank you.
Hi, good morning students.
Morning.
How are you today?
Fine, thank you. And you?
I'm very well, thank you so much. Who is absent today, by the way?
No one.
No one, that's good. Yeah, so are you ready to start our lesson today?
Yes, boss.
Alright. So today we are going to begin our lesson with listening to all the sentences that I will read for you. So listen carefully. Later, I'm going to ask you to repeat after me. So listen carefully to the instruction, okay? Very good. Now let's begin our lesson. I read every day. When I say we, it means that you are going to change the subject into we read every day. Do you get it?
Yes.
Yes, good. Now let's try to repeat after me. We read every day.
We read every day.
One more time, louder. We read every day.
We read every day.
Very great. If I say I, it means you are going to change only the subject into I read every day. Okay? Now, I.
I read every day.
Alright, so when I say I, you directly mention I read every day. Do you understand?
Yes.
Very great. Okay, so let's try. I.
Read every day.
Good. You.
You read every day.
He.
He reads every day.
One more time.
He reads every day.
Be careful because we have the subject he, so the verb must be reads. Okay? We.
We read every day.
Very great. Okay. I'm going to read tomorrow. When I say we, just change the subject into we are reading. Sorry, we are going to read tomorrow. Let's try it once again. I'm going to read tomorrow.
I'm going to read tomorrow.
Now change into we.
We're going to read tomorrow.
What about you?
You're going to read tomorrow.
Again.
You're going to read tomorrow.
John.
John going to read tomorrow.
John is going to read tomorrow. So John's going to read tomorrow. Again, John.
John's going to read tomorrow.
Good. She.
She's going to read tomorrow.
Now let me try to have one of you to mention it very loudly. Dina, please. She's going to read tomorrow.
She's going to read tomorrow.
Again.
She's going to read tomorrow.
Alright. What about you, Anton, at the back?
She's going to read tomorrow.
One more time, please.
She's going to read tomorrow.
Okay, so I have already brought you 2 flashcards here. Can you see the picture?
Yes.
Yep. So I have the question mark in my right hand and I have the plus or the positive mark in my left hand. Later, when I show you the question mark, it means that you have to change the sentence into interrogative sentence. When I show you this card, it means that you are going to change the sentence into the positive sentences. So you just try to take a look very carefully at the 2 flashcards that I'm going to show you. Is it very clear? Yes, good. Let's try to practice it. Now, repeat after me, everybody, okay? They are going to study.
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 Are they going to study?
Are they going to study?
Again, please.
Are they going to study? They are going to study. Are they going to study?
Again.
Are they going to study? They are going to study now.
Great. All right, okay. Now we have this. Now, what about if I have the subject he?
He's going to study.
He's going to study, okay? He's going to study.
He's going to study.
Question mark?
Is he going to study?
What is it? One more time. Is
He going to study.
Is he going to study? Positive.
He is going to study.
Peter.
Is Peter going to study?
Okay. Is Peter going to study? So it is not our Peter because you have the subject Peter. One more time. Peter.
Peter is going to study.
Peter is going to study. Mary.
Mary is going to study.
Good. So the other way around. If I mention the sentence in interrogative, you have to change into the positive one. Is it clear, everybody?
Yes.
Good. Let's try to start. The students are going to have lunch.
Are the students going to have lunch?
Again, the students are going to have lunch.
Are the students going to have lunch?
Are the students going to have lunch? That's great. The girls going to learn English.
Are the girls going to learn English?
Listen again, the positive one. The girls going to learn English.
Are the girls
Going to learn English. George is going to be busy.
Is George going to be busy?
Again, please.
Is George going to be busy?